Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to look at Drive Beyond Horizons. This is an early access game, but I find it quite entertaining, or calming, relaxing. So here's the proposed minimum requirement. It's either i5 6600 or AMD Ryzen 5 1600X, 8GB of RAM, a GTX 1650 or equivalent, which means is the RX 570 4GB variant. No mentioning of Intel, but again, this is a early access game. Welcome to Respawn PC, I'm Dunk, let's drive on. Starting off with the Intel CPU, I have the i5 6500, not the 6600, which means we have a lower clock speed at a 3.6 boost versus 3.9 for the 6600, with 8GB of RAM and the GTX 1650. This is a 4GB VRAM card. There's no info of whatsoever which resolution and settings you should put to be able to play, but the only option is performance, balance, and quality. That's the only preset. You cannot change anything else so far. Remember, this is still early access. Even the minimum requirement may change when it reaches version 1.0. So how does it fare? Really bad. Really bad. The CPU is pegged at 100%, going down as low as 95%. We have a CPU bottleneck, and I doubt the i5 6600 with his 300 MHz more will make any difference. And I just start the game. There's nothing crazy going on right now. And the GPU is either pegged at 100% with the CPU or in the mid 40s of utilization. But the good thing, out of the 4GB of VRAM, we're using 3.6. So a 4GB VRAM card is perfect for this game so far. And for the RAM, out of 8GB recommended for the minimum requirement, we're using 6.7. At least you get the memory right. But the CPU, it's a no-go. We are pegged at 100%. The starter is insane. The laggy is insane. And that only to reach 34 FPS at 1080p performance graphics. Next up, we have the AMD Ryzen 5 1600. I don't have the X variant, but that won't change anything. 8GB of RAM and the RX 570 4GB variant. We still at the 1080p and the graphic settings at performance, whatever that means. And compared with the Intel and Nvidia combo, we have decent FPS at 48. This is highly playable and barely any stutter compared to the Intel one. But we don't have any CPU bottleneck either. The CPU run in the mid 40 to the mid 50s. Even the GPU seems it can take more, so maybe even balance we'll be able to play with this card, as the utilization is in the high 80s to low 90s, but often drop in the mid 50s of utilization. For the VRAM, we are 3.4 out of 4GB of VRAM, and for the RAM itself, we are at 6.6GB of RAM out of 8. The FPS even reach in the high 60s to the 90s when you're inside or driving at night. In the end, I don't know if it's because of the number of core and thread, because the i5 6500 or the i5 6600 both have 4 core 4 thread versus the Ryzen 5 1600, which have 6 core 12 thread. So if it's a core thread bound, you need better CPU on the Intel side to play this game. And I doubt the frequency higher will make any difference, as the Ryzen 5 is only 100 MHz higher than the i5 6500, but managed to play the game without any stutter or bottleneck. As for the GPU, the RX 570 can run the game properly. As for the GTX 1650, we're going to try again on the real minimum requirement, but I'm pretty sure it will be able to run the game properly without a bottleneck from the CPU. For the RAM, 8GB of RAM seems fair enough. The game plays well when we don't have a CPU bottleneck, and the game itself is rather cheap at 32 Canadian dollar. There's even a demo available if you just want to try it for free. But for me, I find it quite relaxing. And that's all I have for Drive Beyond Horizons. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one, and subscribe.